What up, homies? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys episode number 8 of my 2017 Shelf by Shelf series. This is a series in which I take you guys through my entire collection and talk about each title a little bit. You can check these videos out every Monday and Friday on my YouTube channel. So with that said, let's continue where we left off. And first up for this part here, we have The Dead Zone. And The Dead Zone is one of those films that I seen one time, Stephen King's The Dead Zone, and I was just like, yeah, it was pretty cool. It's, you know, a lot of people talk about it, it's decent. And then I watched it recently, a couple months ago, on Blu-ray, spoiler alert, you'll see that later, and I fell in love with it. I was like, dude, this movie kicks ass. It's not overly entertaining in terms of, like, a lot of things happening. It's just a slow burn build-up that is just so well acted. It's just captivating, and I just loved this movie the second go around. So this is like, this is a great movie. The Dead Zone is awesome. It's really well acted. It's a great movie. I loved it. After that, we have Dead Birds. We covered this on the podcast for Western horror. This is sort of a Western horror ghost story type joint. It's alright. It's kind of forgettable in my memory, but it's pretty cool. After that, we had Dead Girl. And Dead Girl is one of those titles I seen on Netflix years ago, and I held off buying it because I wanted to wait for the Blu-ray. When I first seen it, I was like, wow, this movie's messed up. This movie is, you know, disturbing and just gets under your skin. It's just like a crazy story, and it's just one of those movies where you're like, man, I'm glad that somebody made something like this, you know? It's just out there. And it kind of shocked me a little bit, so I was like, I definitely need to own this one day, but I don't need to watch it anytime soon. So I kept putting it off, and I can never find the Blu-ray for the price that I really wanted it for. And then I found this for like $2 on DVD, and I was like, well, gotta get it now. Can't pass it up any longer, because I won't find the Blu-ray anywhere near that price. After that, we have George A. Romero's Presents Dead Time Stories Volume 1. Whew, this shit is atrocious, homies. This shit is not good. The lenticular cover is about the coolest thing going on with this title. I blind bought this at a Walmart when I first got into collecting. So whatever year this came out, that's when I first really started to collect. And it was a new release, and the slipcover was awesome, and it's George A. Romero, and it's an anthology, and it's Volume 1. I was like, what could be better? Took it home, popped it in day that I bought it, and I was just like, are you serious? It was so disappointing. Have not revisited it since, and I've never even picked up Volume 2 simply because Volume 1 was just not a good movie, and it's one of the worst in my collection, guys. After that, we have Death Watch. This is a war horror or military horror. Absolutely love this subgenre, which does not get enough love. It does not get enough films in it. I think it's one of the coolest scopes and settings for a film, horror film, and it's never done. This one was pretty cool, though. It just barely missed my top 10 of 2002. Definitely a solid watch. You can get this really cheap. Highly recommend it. After that, we have A Decade Under the Influence. The 70s films that changed everything. This was pretty cool. I don't really remember a whole lot of what it was about. I assume 70s films and what they influenced. It was a while ago that I watched this. I think I might have covered it in a Horror 101 segment on 22 Shots, but I cannot remember. This is an IFC film. Absolutely love documentaries on film, and this one was pretty cool, from what I remember. After that, we have Decoys. This is what you would call a Species ripoff. It's not terrible, you know. It's one of those like sci-fi original type movies, but it's back when they put a little spit and a little shine on their movies, and it was, you know, it had a little more heart, and this one was kind of fun. Same thing goes for the sequel, Decoys: The Second Seduction. Does this not just look like a Species ripoff? It was alright, you know, not too bad. I think both of them I liked about the same. And then we have Deliverance. I picked this up at Big Lots for $5. Could not pass it up. I've not watched this film in years, but I really want to revisit it because I remember the first time I watched it, I was just in awe, and I was like, oh my god, you know, I just felt sick to my stomach, you know, it just embarrassed. I just felt embarrassed, and you guys know the scene I'm talking about, but it really got to me. This is one of the probably one of the worst experiences in terms of like feels that I got from a movie, you know. But yeah, good shit. After that, we have Demonic Toys. This is actually Full Moon a while ago. Did not own the rights to Demonic Toys, but for some reason they own the rights in Mexico, I believe. so they can release it under Juggernaut's Demonicos. And it was like an import. I don't know, man. It's real weird, but so that's how I got the Demonic Twins. I think they have the rights now, but I'm not sure. After that, we have Demonic Toys 2. What a disappointment. What a disappointment. This movie is nothing like the original Demonic Toys. It's just atrocious. I love the original Demonic Toys. Demonic Toys 2, not good. The Demon's Rook, this one was pretty cool. Very, very long, though. It goes on forever. It's a decent movie. Very throwback, feels very Italian, stuff like that. But it just takes a while to get over. After that, we have The Den, IFC Midnight. This was one of the stronger IFC Midnights that I've seen in the last couple years. It's a really good flick. You know, I picked this up at Walmart on like a blind buy type thing. Anytime I usually saw an IFC Midnight at Walmart, I usually bought it just because, you know, it's cool. It's, you know you're gonna at least get half quality films. You know, probably every other release was quality. And the Den was definitely one of the high quality flicks. It's like sort of found footage style, but done so well. It doesn't get talked about enough. Definitely a hidden gem. After that, we have The Dentist. One of the better flicks from the 90s. I actually really like this movie, and the last time I watched it, it just, there's something about it, man. It's kind of magical in a way. It's like just hypnotic almost. It's like a dream, and it's very uncomfortable. It makes you feel like you almost have the spins or something. Like, if I could describe this movie, it's like you have the spins. Like when you're drunk and you have the spins, that's kind of what this movie's like to me. I don't know why. I really don't know why. This is Brian Usna, I believe. Actually made my top 10 in 1996. There wasn't a whole lot to choose from, but well deserved. It was actually high top 10, so can't remember exactly what number, but yeah, definitely cool. Deranged and Motel Hell. Out of these two flicks, I like Deranged way more. They have nothing to do with each other, really. Other than, you know, body mutilation, maybe some cannibalism or whatever, but Deranged is solid. Like, Deranged is an awesome 70s flick. I'm actually going to see it on 35mm here coming up in April, so I'm pretty excited about that. Motel Hell, I'm just not a huge fan of, honestly. I never really, it had a lot of hype, and people always talked about, like, Motel Hell, and I just was like, it's not what I was expecting, I guess. After that, we have The Descent, and this is one that has a lot of hype. I do agree it's a really good movie, but I didn't connect with it like a lot of people. It is really good, though. After that, we have Stephen King's Desperation, directed by Mick Garris, screenplay by Stephen King, and you would think that both of those would go well together, but for some reason, this movie just was boring as hell. Just was boring. After that, we have Detention. Had this in a collection forever. Have not watched it yet. After that, we have Devil, M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah, you know, Shyamalan. Very controversial filmmaker in terms of quality. Started off with a bang and then nosedived, and actually is just peaking again, you know, which is pretty cool. I actually like Devil. Now, I'm not going to say that this is a directed film by M. Night Shyamalan. Actually, I should make sure that you guys know that it's not. It's written by him and produced, but it definitely has that Shyamalan feel, and it's probably one of my favorites of his films that he's been involved with. It's actually really cool. It really is. I like it. Devil, it's one other thing. It's contained horror, which is like one of my favorite types of horror. After that, we have The Devil's Chair. This was boring. I didn't really care for it. It's like a Hellraiser ripoff. Not too good, in my opinion. After that, we have Disturbia. This is a movie that every time I watch it, I enjoy it. Every time. Even though I know all the things that are happening, I know what's going to happen, it's still very thrilling. It's like, you know, Rear Window and stuff, and Fright Night, stuff like that. Disturbia is cool. Disturbia is dope. Yeah, it's Shia LaBeouf. Like, I like that dude. I wish he would have done more horror. Really, really cool flick there. After that, we have Document of the Dead. This is a Synapse release. Got this suit on the super cheap, but I've actually never watched this. I'm going to have to check it out eventually. George Romero's Dead Films, I believe it's a documentary of. After that, we have Dog Soldiers. And Dog Soldiers is a solid flick. Definitely, really good. It actually made my top 10 in 2002 as well, so. Neil Marshall, I believe, is the director. Also directed The Descent. It's a movie, honestly, like, the first time I watched it, it was really hard to tell who was who, because they're all, like, Marines, and they all have, like, shaved heads, and they all have this accent that's hard to tell apart, like, the Scottish accent, and it took me a while to like really understand like who's who. But the last time I watched it was pretty solid. After that, we have Dogs. This was out of print for a while, and then another company released a Blu-ray of it. I ended up getting this, believe it or not. Back in the day, you could find great stuff on Walmart.com, like the just website, like ship it to the store. And I found Dogs for like $3 on Walmart.com, and I used to get all kind of stuff. I got a lot of out of print stuff back then, but since the past couple years, you can't find anything like that on that website, so don't recommend it now. And finally, for this part, guys, we have Dog Graveyard. I actually didn't hate this one. It's all right. It's kind of exactly what you would expect from Full Moon. It's, if you could describe a full moon film featuring dolls in post 2010, it's exactly what you would think. Alright guys, I'll see you guys next time with another video. You guys can check me Monday. We'll be back with another one, so stay tuned, and we're just working our way through the shelf.